If you haven't been living under a rock for the last week, you would have woken up to the news that Nyck De Vries has been fired with immediate effect from Alpha Tauri, Daniel Ricciardo being given his seat for the remainder of the season. If you aren't aware of this news, then please watch another video explaining the situation, or else this might not make much sense. Without further ado though, let's jump straight into it. We won't delve deep into whether or not Daniel is worthy of the seat at AlphaTauri, especially after his recent pace decline at McLaren. However, some testing at Silverstone for Red Bull and some simulated data does indicate that he will be quick after his half-a-year hiatus. Whether or not that will be translated into the much slower AlphaTauri is up for debate. However, what I will state is this: Daniel is there for multiple reasons. Firstly, to develop the team for next season, with AlphaTauri only scoring 2 points this whole year. Hopefully though, he'll score some points in the wake of De Vries' scoreless run. Most importantly, he wants to be there in order to prove himself for a 2024 seat, test the pace of Tsunoda as well as the now under pressure Checo Perez. Of course, the Ricciardo promotional factor does play a key part in the move. We also know that the AlphaTauri 04 is a crap car which doesn't give us an indication of Tsunoda's pace and thus future in Red Bull, although this is seemingly unlikely with speculation he'll move to Aston on the powertrain switch. If you have a solid benchmark like Daniel, then you will have someone to test Tsunoda against. The move also gives Red Bull the chance to allow Daniel Ricciardo to show exactly where his driving is at. Absolutely no risk to AlphaTauri's results. Surely he can't be worse Nyck De Vries. He obviously isn't a long-term solution for anybody, but if he shows pace, then he may have a shot at the AlphaTauri seat for 2024, maybe even at another team. With Red Bull Racing looking to work a lot closer with AlphaTauri for their 2024 rebranding, potentially looking to use the same chassis parts, Daniel's experienced inputs will be well received at the team. However, we now know that Daniel is going to be with AlphaTauri for the rest of the season. Or do we? Although there are broad yet clear statements to this, an official statement released on the Oracle Red Bull Racing Facebook page states this. If you read that correctly, you will see that it states that Daniel Ricciardo will be racing for the next 10 races. Yet we have 12 races left in the season, which means that his loan period from Red Bull is until the 6th of November, the end of the Brazilian Grand Prix. There will still be 2 remaining races, Las Vegas and Abu Dhabi. For those of you like me who are Lawson fans or just happen to hail from New Zealand, there is some very good news about to come. Lawson finishes his very successful Super Formula campaign 29th of October, hopefully with another championship win. The supposed loan period for Ricciardo from Red Bull Racing ending a couple of weeks later in November, theory is that Red Bull loaning Daniel Ricciardo Lawson's stint in Super Formula is complete, and then putting Lawson in the car for the final 2 races at the end of this year, for a debut of sorts. Same thing happened for Hartley back in 2018. Hopefully it doesn't end up like Hartley's stint in Formula 1. They will then compare and contrast him with Daniel Ricciardo for the 2024 seat at AlphaTauri. This would, among other things, mean that Daniel Ricciardo doesn't get to drive the streets of Las Vegas, and would likely lead to a promotional hit for the team. But then again, if he's quick, he has proven in free practice sessions and young driver tests, Lawson will be the right move for AlphaTauri and Red Bull alike. Helmut Marko and Christian Horner both want Lawson to finish the season off in Super Formula, as it's the fastest single-seater series apart from F1, even being quicker than IndyCar. It's a great stepping stone as demonstrated by Gasly and Tsunoda's participation. Christian and especially Helmut are always very open about their feelings towards drivers, especially if you're Nyck De Vries. But in Lawson's case, this can be a positive thing. They've praised him and are constantly stating that they have exciting plans for him once he finishes his stint in Super Formula, like a championship win. This is evident in Helmut Marko and Christian Horner's interview, in which they state that it's almost guaranteed that Lawson will be on the grid in 2025. Highly likely that we'll be seeing him on the grid in 2024. Take anything that Helmut Marko says with a grain of salt though. Other seat options for Lawson in 2024 include an Albon-style move to teams such as Williams, who will then be up against the likes of Mick Schumacher for getting a non-AlphaTauri seat. I think that this would be a great option as it will provide more long-term security, as we know how Red Bull and AlphaTauri alike can be with hiring and then promptly firing drivers. Anyone who states that Lawson would replace Checo for 24 at Red Bull is delusional. Red Bull is one of the toughest, if not the toughest teams to come straight into, especially with limited to no F1 experience. This would likely kill his F1 career. I do believe that Sergio Perez will stay on through 2024 at Red Bull Racing. I believe that he will iron out those frankly shocking qualifying disasters, and his race pace does still net good points for the team. State that there are no logical replacements for Checo. Firstly, because Alex Palou has no super license. Lando is still in contract with McLaren, though this could be broken if Red Bull Racing wishes to. Yes, again though, he has stated that he doesn't want to work with the team by declining their offer. Tsunoda, I don't believe, will perform at Red Bull, and most of the other options are locked in contract. Assuming Checo stays on, there won't be a need for Ricciardo to move from AlphaTauri to Red Bull. It could mean he'll stay on in 2024 at AlphaTauri. It could also mean a move to another team or return to the third driver role if Lawson takes a seat. There is definitely more to the discussion about whether the time off means Ricciardo is ready. I think he will be. Tsunoda's future in Formula One, and ultimately the specifics on the futures of Lawson and Ricciardo. If you have anything at all, and I mean anything, to add, leave it in the comments. I'm always up for a discussion. One thing is for sure though, this will certainly be an interesting couple of months. Hopefully it ends with another debut win for Lawson, a single-seater category, this time in Formula One.